All right, today on The Explainer, we are diving deep into one of the most polarizing projects in all of crypto, Bittensor. You know it as TAO. So, is this thing the future of AI, or is it all just one big bubble?
I mean, people are calling this thing the next Bitcoin of AI. And look, that's a huge statement. It's not just some throwaway line. It's a narrative that's absolutely fueling a massive wave of hype and, a ton of investment.
But here's the thing. The opinions on this project are, well, they're all over the map. On one side, you've got the true believers, right? They're saying this is a totally undervalued, revolutionary project. And then, on the other side, you've got people screaming it's a house of cards, a scam that's going to go to zero, just completely collapse. So what's the real story with TAO? That's what we're here to figure out. In this explainer, we're going to tear down the arguments from both sides, the bulls and the bears, so you can understand what's actually going on in this super high-stakes debate.
Okay, so before we get into the whole bull versus bear thing, we've got to understand the core idea. Like, what is Bittensor even trying to do?
Well, think about the AI we have today. It's mostly controlled by a handful of giant companies, right? Bittensor wants to flip that completely on its head. The goal is to basically turn intelligence itself into a commodity, creating this open marketplace where AI isn't locked away, but is actually a tradable asset that anyone can access.
And the way it does this is pretty cool. It runs on something they call proof of intelligence. It sounds complex, but it's actually a simple three-step dance. First, nodes ask other nodes for information. Then they rank how good the answers are. And finally, the best ones, the nodes providing the most value, get rewarded with TAO tokens. It's a system that's constantly pushing for better and better AI.
Okay, so that's the tech. But what's getting investors so fired up? Let's dig into the bull case because it's built on some really powerful arguments.
First up, and this is a big one, the tokenomics. TAO has a hard cap of 21 million tokens. Sound familiar? Yep, that's the exact same scarcity model as Bitcoin. The idea is simple. As the network gets more popular, the value of each token should go up. Classic supply and demand.
Second, the big money is starting to notice. I'm talking about institutional investors. Just look at Grayscale, a huge name in asset management. They've put over 43% of their AI fund into TAO. I mean, wow. That's not just dipping a toe in the water, that's a massive vote of confidence from a very serious player.
And it's not just Grayscale. Venture capital's jumping in too. We're talking firms like Digital Currency Group and DAO5 putting money directly into the project. Plus, other projects within the Bittensor ecosystem are raising millions. That's a huge signal that the so-called smart money thinks there's real long-term potential here.
So let's just recap the bull case. You've got the Bitcoin-like scarcity. You've got serious institutional money coming in. You have this growing ecosystem of over 128 different AI subnets. Think of them as little specialized AI markets. And on top of all that, they offer some pretty sweet staking rewards to get people to hold their tokens for the long haul.
Sounds pretty good, right? But is all this hype actually justified? That's the billion-dollar question. So now, let's flip the coin and look at the other side of the story, the much darker counter-narrative.
Yeah, despite all that good news, there are some pretty major red flags. And the critics, they're pointing to these as proof that the whole thing is fundamentally broken, maybe even a little deceptive.
Okay, concern number one, centralization. For a project that's all about being decentralized, critics claim that a staggering 62.5% of the early tokens are actually controlled by a tiny group of insiders and VCs. That's not exactly what you'd call a fair launch.
And that concentration of tokens leads straight to the next big accusation, that its huge market cap is basically fake. It's the classic playbook, right? Low float, high valuation. When there aren't many tokens actually out there to be traded, it's pretty easy for a small group to prop up the price, which creates a very fragile bubble.
But wait, there's more. The bears say the problems go even deeper. They allege the governance is also centralized, run by foundation insiders. They say the economic model is just broken, turning these cool AI projects into nothing more than cash machines for the validators. And with so many tokens staked and locked up, it hides how little liquidity there really is. To top it all off, some chart analysts are saying the technicals are flashing big red warning signs that this whole party might be over.
Okay, so you've got these two completely opposite stories. And this really brings us to the heart of it all, the core battle that's probably going to decide TAO's future. It's this massive tug of war between a world-changing promise on one side and total disaster on the other.
And you can see the battle lines pretty clearly. For the bulls, a spot ETF could open the floodgates to new money. If those subnets start making real cash on their own, well, that proves the whole concept works. But the risks on the bear side are just as big. I mean, what if those insiders decide it's time to sell? With so little liquidity, the price could just completely tank. And what if those subnets can't get profitable before the free money, the subsidies dries up? The entire ecosystem could just fall apart.
So, at the end of the day, it all boils down to one single, critical question. Can this network create real, actual demand for its AI services? And can it do it fast enough to outrun the ticking time bombs in its own design? The answer to that question is what will decide if TAO becomes the next Bitcoin, or just another forgotten project in the crypto graveyard.